important is music for my life? I think it's very important. It takes a big part of my life because we have 24 hours a day, so I think every day I'm busy a few hours a day with music. I play in orchestra, I play quartet, I practice, I teach. Do I like teaching? I love teaching, yes. Teaching is sharing. I share with my students my own knowledge. I study also sometimes from explaining things. I can learn myself as well, and I like to study myself. But working with young musicians is a great pleasure, especially if I see that I'm helping someone. So I feel that I'm also giving back. As a young musician, you always think about yourself. And I find many artists consumed with their own career and with their own music, and they forget to give back. And when I teach, I feel that I'm giving back from what I studied, and it's a good feeling to give back. Why did I choose the cello? My first choice was the viola, and my brother was playing the violin, and his teacher told me that if I want to play the viola, I have to study 7 years the violin. And since my older brother already played the violin, it's better for the competition in the house and for the piece of the house that I study the cello. And he introduced me to his colleague, who was my first cello teacher, Shmuel Magen. He's a professor in Jerusalem, and I had the luck to study with one of the best teachers in the world. So it was very interesting to meet him, and so I actually was inspired in the beginning by a very inspiring teacher, and later I found my own interest in music and in cello playing. Yeah. What is my favorite cellist? Well, one is Pablo Casals, who was the first cellist that I listened to, because he plays every note musical, very philosophic way also. Of course, Rostropovich was very inspiring cellist because I was lucky enough to see him perform, so it was the best performance that I ever saw live. Why classic music? When you're a kid, I don't think it was an issue. Today I realized that the way the classical composers wrote, the way they write is much more complex. The technique of writing is much higher level just from the writing point of view, and it has a different purpose in life. Rock music has a different purpose than classical music. Jazz is also fascinating because the musicians that I met from the jazz world are exceptional, so I have a lot of admiration to many jazz musicians. When you study something and you have an inspiring teacher, I think you fall in love with the profession. What piece I will take to a desert island? My answer will be Bach, the cello suites. What kind of skills a teacher has to have? The first thing is patience. I teach in this course kids from a very young age, and also teenagers and older kids. And you have to have a lot of patience. I think that's the most important, because if you lose your patience and you start being negative, impatient, you can stress the student. If you stress the student, you don't get out the best out of him. On one hand, you have to be very disciplined, very firm, and very nice, very kind, and very patient, because they need time. Many things that I can do that are very easy for me, it's after years of training. I cannot expect someone in a young age to achieve it immediately. That's the most important, is patience. How do I find this place for teaching? Many people want to invest a lot of money in studying music, but the most important thing to study is to have a wooden chair, a stand in music, and to practice. But of course, when you live in this beautiful surrounding, it's inspiring, the nature, it's a lot of green around us, the trees, it's beautiful. Will I come next year? I think that definitely I would like to come again next year. I hope to come again next year, yes.